Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Sonder Social. It has been a minute since I have done a Sonder Social. I don't know why, but I deeply missed it, and I'm so excited to do a journaling social together this evening. I hope everyone is having a great week so far. We're halfway through. It is summertime, even though I am in a sweater because I live in San Francisco. So there's that Mark Twain quote, the coldest winter is the summer in San Francisco, and that is true. So that is why you're seeing me in a huge chunky sweater, so I'm staying warm. But for those of you that don't know me, hi, I'm Malika. I am dialing in from San Francisco. I am joined by the fabulous Bailey, who's dialing in from Nashville. She's going to be answering any questions you might have in the chat. So make sure to say hi to her. And we're going to get started. For folks who are new, I want to make sure to give you a huge welcome. Whether you're new to a Sonder social or new to maybe like a journaling social, definitely say you're new so we can give you a huge welcome. And for folks who are returning, welcome back. So we're going to be working out of our June like journals together. And before we get started, just some housekeeping rules. Make sure to set your chat to everyone. And we'll go ahead and get started. Let's do it. Okay. Just as a reminder here, for community guidelines, be kind and courteous to yourself and others. No promotions or spam. Respect everyone's privacy. No hate speech or bullying. Limit any repetitive product and accessory questions, and redirect any customer care inquiries to our team at hello@SilkandSonder. And remember that Sonder socials are a way to really elevate your experience with your journal and really dive a little bit deeper with introspection, especially when it comes to these journaling socials. I really like the journaling socials specifically because we get to really work on them together. And I think there is something powerful about kind of working on things together, getting inspiration from one another, and also hearing other people and how they interpret the prompt or how they answer the prompt. It's really fun to do, and really kind of what gets me excited about journaling. So I'll go ahead and talk about, oh my gosh, happy birthday, Beth Ann. I love a June birthday. It was my birthday a couple weeks ago. We had a lot of birthdays amongst the facilitators as of recent. We have a lot of Geminis and Cancers in the group. So happy birthday. And let's go ahead and get started. I love all my June babies, my fellow June babies. Okay. This month's theme is flow, and I know we're kind of late into June, so I'm sure folks have been dialing into other socials. They've kind of talked about this theme of flow, but I always like to look at the definition on page 3, and flow is defined as a state where actions, thoughts, and emotions move in harmony, fully present, engaged, and guided by your true desires. And I always try to think about flow as a way where I feel like when I'm not in alignment with kind of my flow state, I feel like all the negative emotions kind of pop up. So whether it be feeling anxious or feeling like not happy or feeling kind of something's not right. That's kind of like the opposite of what a flow state feels like to me. And sometimes, like, I think with work, I feel like I enter a flow state and I feel I can get productive and I feel energized by the work that I'm doing. And I feel like that's always fun. But oftentimes, there are times in my personal life where, like, I feel like I'm not in a flow state or I feel like something happens or it feels like, abrupt and, something doesn't feel right. But I'm trying to kind of get back into things that bring me back to my flow state. And oftentimes it's really disconnecting from my phone, really kind of being a little bit more present with creativity. So I've been like doing a lot of painting recently, and it's been really nice to be creative, and it's really therapeutic for me. So I feel like doing things like that really kind of bring me back to that flow state. So for figuring out kind of what those actions, thoughts, and emotions are that help you move through your flow state. So keep that in mind as we kind of dive into one of our journaling activities here. But I'll give you all an overview of the agenda. So we'll start off with the opening activity, then we'll go into the flow mapping exercise on page 16, and then finally we'll close out with our affirmation sentence. All right. Okay, so the opening activity, you can do this on a blank page in your journal. It can be on a scratch paper, wherever you have the space. And this one's going to be a little bit creative. So we're going to draw some clouds in the air with raindrops coming down and a few lightning bolts. And remember, rainstorms reset nature by hydrating the earth. So they also release things. So in the lightning bolts, write out the negative things you've been holding on to that block your flow. Maybe it's things from your past, negative thought patterns, and in the clouds and the raindrops, write the things that give you energy and replenish you. So I used Claude to generate this, so it's a little different than, but in terms of like the content of it, it's pretty on brand for me. But I would say my lightning strikes are my self-doubt and kind of my feelings of not being enough or anything with social media that kind of pulls me out of my reality and almost into this like warped reality where I feel like I may be comparing myself to others' timelines, or I'm looking at TikTok and looking at things that are just not in my current world, and maybe those insecurities come out. So that's my lightning bolt. And then my other lightning bolt is really, tied to certain things when it comes to dating. I feel like it's always tricky, and I feel like it can be very draining at times. And it just feels like it's not an easy experience. And then I would say what replenishes me is really yummy food and really feeling like I'm getting that recharge, that nourishment, and having quality rest. I would say also talking to my friends and like those deep relationships where I feel really connected with those people. So even like talking to them on the phone, like that in itself like really makes me energized, because I feel like it's much more energizing to talk to people that you have some sort of relationship with. And it always puts me back in a better mood. And then finally, kind of just things that make me happy, whether it be, creativity or just unwinding, maybe disconnecting from technology a little bit. So I will give you all some time to draw out your lightning bolts, your clouds, and your raindrops, and we will regroup in a few minutes. All right, just checking in. How is everyone's replenishing rainstorms going? But I think I'll give you all like one more minute and then we'll move on to our next journaling activity. All right. We will now move on. I hope you had fun with this activity. I love kind of a more creative and fun drawing activity once in a while before we get into the more like wordy journaling socials. I hope you all enjoyed it. We will now move on to the flow mapping exercise which is on page 16 of your June journal. So I'll give you all some time to flip to it. Um, okay, and what I'll do is we're gonna start off with the top two boxes there to really identify our trigger and our peak flow, and then we'll move on to the starting point, immersion, and afterglow boxes after. So, the prompt reads, think about a recent time when you struggled to focus, but eventually found your flow. Map the steps below to see how you transitioned from scattered to absorbed. So really think about kind of that process. So think about what it might have been that made you struggle. How did you kind of get out of that, and how did you kind of get into focus mode? We'll start off with the top two boxes there. So really for the trigger box, really think about a moment or choice that shifted your attention. Was it turning off your phone? Was it setting a timer? Think about kind of what that was that shifted your attention. Were you doing it right before? What were you doing kind of right before the shift, and why did you choose it? Is there something that kind of pulled you to shift your attention? Was there some sort of feeling or frustration or thought that came just before the trigger? Did you do anything physical? Like, did you put your phone away? Did you change locations? Did you take a breath? Did you go for a walk? Think about kind of what that was there like a physical action that took place? And really think of it as kind of your on-ramp moment. So really think about the smaller and more specific details you give, the better. So that will be your trigger, and then your peak flow will be how it felt when you were fully engaged. So what did full engagement feel like? So did time seem to speed up or slow down or disappear? And what does that tell you? Were you kind of aware of yourself and your surroundings, or did you really feel like you disappeared into the task? So what emotions were present? Were you excited? Were you calm? Were you curious? Were you joyful? And just remember that sometimes flow isn't always like this grand thing. So even if it's like a steady flow, that counts. So typically, when I feel like I'm in flow, time disappears for me. I just feel like there's no clock. I'm just like going through the motion, and it feels really, really good to just be kind of going through my day in that way. So that's how it is for me, but I'm sure it is different for each and every one of you. So I'll give you all some time to kind of reflect on your trigger and your peak flow. And I will give you all some time to fill that out before we move on to those three boxes below. So I will see you all in a few minutes. All right. I think we are kind of reflecting on our triggers and our peak flows. And I love what you all share in the chat. And we'll now move on to those last three boxes. So the starting point, the immersion, and the afterglow. So when we're thinking about the starting point, really reflecting on kind of what you were doing and how you felt before the flow. So for us, like what were you doing mentally and physically? What was your energy like? Were you feeling scattered or anxious or bored or tired? What story were you trying to tell yourself in that moment? Was it, I can't focus or I don't have time? How long had you been in that scattered state before the shift happened? So really be honest with yourself. I don't think there's anything you have to lose. Oftentimes for me, my starting point is always feeling flustered. I think I feel really flustered. I feel really anxious. And I just feel like, oh, super overwhelmed to the point where like, okay, no, I need to make that change. So that's always kind of the impetus for me for when I feel like I make that that conscious like shift. For immersion, think about what is that action that pulled you deeper? Is it, sketching, reading, coding? Is it, painting? Is it listening to music? What is it that pulled you deeper? So at what point did you stop thinking about the task and just start doing it? So, was there a specific moment the resistance dropped, and what happened right before it? Sorry, a lot of motorcycles here. What kept you going? Challenge, curiosity, momentum, or something else? And really thinking about the immersion being that crossing the threshold moment. So really try to pinpoint what it is precisely that you kind of that pulled you in deeper. Um, and then finally, afterglow. How did you feel once the activity ended? So, what lingered once it ended? Did you feel a little bit lighter? Did you feel more energized? Did you feel more satisfied, drained? How did you feel in that moment after, you've kind of entered that flow state? Do you feel like it affected your mood? Did it make you more confident? Did it help with your energy for the rest of the day? Did it help with your mood shifting? And would you want more of this in your life? And what would it take? So, really thinking about Afterglow as a good data point of how you felt once you entered your flow. And it tells you whether this activity is actually nourishing you. So, I have a great example. I think on Monday I was feeling really, really flustered. I always start my day with a bunch of meetings, and I'm constantly context switching every single day. It's just part of my job. But I would say towards the end of my day, I chose to really put my phone away and just put some instrumental music. And I am doing like this adult paint by numbers. Let me show you. Because I love to share. So I'm working on this, and it is very, very tedious, but it is like a way for me to like get out of my head and really focus on what I'm doing. And I really felt like lighter and a lot more energized afterwards, so much so that I was like, oh, I actually really want to like go, drive somewhere else. And I feel like I work and live in my little studio apartment and I never leave. And I feel like that really helped me feel energized to go do something that I also wanted to do and really like spurred a little bit more energy for me to go do that extra thing. So I think that is a good way to really think about it. And I felt like even though I did have a little bit of work in the evening, I was in a much happier state and a much more productive state because I had took that break and I, had that time for myself. So I'll give you all some time to reflect on your starting point, your immersion, and your afterglow as part of your flow mapping exercise. And then we will regroup for the affirmations next. All right, there's that mute button. I wanted to check in, see how we're doing. It sounds like most folks have kind of reflected on their flow mapping exercise and, really identified their starting point, their immersion, and their afterglow. So I'm glad everyone had a chance to kind of take this prompt. I feel like this flow mapping exercise is a little bit harder to do on your own. So hopefully this helped you kind of go through it step by step. And we will now move on to our affirmation sun. So I love this. I think it's so fun for summer. It's really gloomy out here in San Francisco, so I love just suns are always great to see, right? We love to see yellow, yellow suns. So, that being said, feel free to get creative with this. So, you can write in them, you can color them. Feel free to really take this in whatever direction you'd like. And I also added a bunch of affirmations here for you to feel inspired. You can feel free to not use any of these, but maybe if you're struggling to find some affirmations, you can feel free to use them. I really think affirmations are a great way for us to talk to ourselves a little bit more positively. I feel like oftentimes, especially as women, we tend to be extremely hard on ourselves because we have been so conditioned to believe that, like, if something's wrong, like, we need to take ownership and we need to fix it, right? And I feel like oftentimes, like, we have feelings of self-doubt or, we don't really give ourselves enough credit. And I think it's really important to talk to ourselves positively because the way you speak about yourself is also the way you kind of show up in the world. So I really hope that you enjoy this exercise and really spend some time to identify what affirmations really resonate with you. Make them really intentional and make them really focused for you. They don't always have to be generic. Maybe there's something that the theme you want to focus on for this month, or maybe you want to focus on something that you may have, insecurities about, and you want to really focus on that insecurity and have affirmations to help pull you out of that headspace. Think about what that is for you, and write it down. I think part of these exercises, really writing it down, is really so powerful. So I'll give you all some time to write out your affirmation sons, and I will check back in a couple minutes. All right, we're nearing the end of our hour together, but I hope that you enjoyed this productive hour you have done with your journal. I feel like we always get a lot out of these hours. I wish every hour could be as healing as this hour always tends to be. But it's always a great reset. And I hope you have a great rest of your evening. Make sure to share your pages with the broader group in Sonder Club on your app. Oops, sorry. I'll share my playlist. I always forget to put it on there. So let me drop my link to the playlist here. Um, and yeah, I think those are the big things here. I just wanted to make sure that you all had a great rest of your evening. Thank you so much for spending this hour with me and Bailey. I haven't done a social in so long, and it was always a pleasure to talk to you all and just reflect together. So thank you all, and I will see you all next time. Bye, everyone.